Hello. How's everybody doing tonight? Alright, I figure if you guys can sing covers, I can read a cover poem, right? Yeah. So tonight I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable and try not to bring the house down too much. But I'm reading tonight, the first poem was the inspiration for the second one that I'll read, and I'll just a little bit. And I'm reading tonight in memory of a lost family member. My cousin Amy passed away, and her birthday's coming up next week, and tonight is for Amy. So I'm going to read for you one of my favorites, W.H. Auden, one of his more famous, thank you, snap, snap, one of his more famous funeral blues. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with the juicy bone, silence the pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle, moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, she is dead. Put crepe bows round the white necks of the public doves. Let traffic police wear black cotton gloves. She was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and Sunday rest. My noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. So, I know, kind of a downer. It gets worse. Instead of celebrating her 38th birthday next week with her kids and her family, we lost Amy in 2004 at the very tender age of 26 when she finally lost her battle with depression, alcoholism, and mental illness and took her own life. And in the last, 14 years, 12 years, I miss her every day. She was in our family line. I'm the oldest of the cousins, and she was next in line, and we were like sisters, and we fought like sisters, and she was a very big personality and charming and irritating and one of those people you couldn't stay mad at, and she left this giant hole. And unfortunately, when you lose someone to suicide, you become part of a very exclusive club where you get the privilege of grieving in private, because people don't want to hear about that. It makes people uncomfortable. It's icky. I don't know what to say to that. If you haven't been touched by suicide, if you haven't had suicidal tendencies or thoughts, it's just one of those things we don't talk about. And it's fine that you miss your cousin, but I don't want to hear about how she died. Or maybe you do want to hear about how she died and you have this really morbid sense of how did she go? What did she do? What happened? What was her life like? What was her family like? Were they horrible? Did they hate her? And it needs to be okay for me to publicly say, I lost someone to suicide and it was horrible and it was violent and I need to talk about it. And it also needs to be okay for you to ask me those slightly inappropriate and awkward questions. Because while I still don't have any answers all these years later, if I never talk about it, and if you never get to talk to me, how are we ever going to have answers? We live in a world where the World Wide Web connects us to the great big planet with a device we hold in our hand, but we forget to look up and smile on a daily basis. And on the planet, every 40 seconds in the world, someone commits suicide. And in the time that it took me to say that and your brain to process it, somebody's light just went out. Forever. And in this country, the 10th leading cause of death is suicide. And among adults, it's the 4th leading cause of suicide and on the rise. And in 2013, we lost over 40,000 people to suicide. And among young people, from 15 to 25, it is the 2nd leading cause of death, only behind intentional or unintentional homicide. Young people are killing each other and themselves, and we don't talk about it because it's ugly and it's messy. So here's the pitch. I am doing a thing that I have done four times now. There's a wonderful organization called the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the AFSP, and every year they pick 2 cities in the US to do what they call the Out of the Darkness Overnight Walk. This is the 3rd time this year it will be held. It's the 3rd time in the last 12 years that it has been held in San Francisco, and I will be walking in May, and yes, I'm raising money. It is my 4th walk altogether since my cousin passed. The reason that we call it the Out of the Darkness overnight walk is because we start at sunset and we finish at sunrise to symbolically walk out of darkness. Because depression and mental illness and alcoholism and suicidal tendencies are real things that happen in the dark, and we need to bring it into the light. Because there is light, there is life after loss, and there is light after darkness. And those kids that are dying, who are dead and dying, started out sad and crying. And we need to be able to talk about it. Fat Tuesday is tomorrow. These are not Mardi Gras beads. These are the beads that I wear when I walk. Because when you do the overnight walk, everybody gets beads. And they designate how suicide touched you. We wear blue to say I support the cause. We wear purple if we've lost a family member. And I wear orange because it designates losing a sibling, and that's what losing Amy felt like to me. And there are beads for losing a spouse and grandparents and first responders and military personnel and parents, but the most heartbreaking beads of all to see are when you see young people. I'm talking middle school kids and lots of young people walk, and it's great that they have a community to walk in, wearing gold beads, because that designates that they've lost a parent. And those kids need us to be able to talk about it. And people need to be able to reach out when they're feeling depressed. Because while it's all well and good to feel a digital connection, we still need to have an emotional connection to people. And when you ask someone, hey, how are you doing? You need to really mean it, so that they can really mean it in return. I'm not okay, or I am okay, or whatever their answer is. Next poem I'm going to read. It's actually a poem I read the very first night that I came here to Red Rock. And I didn't explain it. And so maybe now it will mean a little bit more if you heard it before. I wrote this in 2004 to read at Amy's memorial. And it is called The Challenge. She is contrast. She is change. She is confusion and passion and strange, unintentionally irritating, charming and infuriating. She is lovely, and she is loved. And she makes me laugh and dream and hope and scream. She is optimistic and afraid, intense and uncontained. She's a challenge, and she loves it, and she hates it. And I get her, and I don't. And she is beauty, and she is gone. And I miss her. I miss the challenge. Anybody wants to talk to me about anything, I will have my eyes up, smiling. If you are at all interested in more information about the AFSP, if you're at all interested in making a donation, every dollar, every penny helps, come find me, either here or digitally on Facebook. My last name is Steelman, Steelman, not to be confused with the Man of Steel. All right, thank you guys.
Okay, so I know this is a bit unconventional, but we're going to take a 5-minute intermission, and I want everybody just to get up and either hug someone in the room, or if you're really uncomfortable with that, just shake someone's hand and give them a smile. Because we all need to know that we're loved. And this is a very real thing, and Donna, thank you so much. My cousin Bruce committed suicide a few years ago, and my brother Caleb attempted suicide not that long ago as well. And so I know how real that is. And so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and I want no one, we're not going to start again until everyone has either hugged someone or shaken someone's hand or shown some type of loving affection to somebody in this room. So we'll be right back.